Welcome to This Toast is For You, a podcast celebrating the people who make our lives better. I'm your host, Kay Elizabeth, a licensed counselor, coach, and PhD, and I interview delightful people who support our health through financial stability, healthcare, education, the neighborhoods we live in, and the relationships we keep. So give a listen if you are in need of a dopamine hit, or if you like toast, because this toast is for you.
I'm Mary Beth, and I'm the Executive Director for Trust Incorporated. I've been here for about 3 years now. Our name is Toward Renewed Unity and Service Together. That's our acronym. But what it really comes down to is building community with the community. And how we do that is we have programs that are designed to keep people living independently in their homes. We do Meals on Wheels, transportation services, and chore home services. Chore home services is housekeeping. We do, dusting, cleaning, vacuuming, organizing, as well as another group called our estate sales group, which helps people with downsizing and estate sales as needed. We take people to food pantries as well to make sure that their food sustainability is there. We have a handyman service or a handy person service that will help you with, you have a leaky faucet. You need to have light bulbs changed. You want to put up a ceiling fan or blinds in your windows. And then we also do home exterior and yard maintenance. This time of year, we do shoveling we have over 80 clients in South Minneapolis. In the summer, we will do yard maintenance. In the in-betweens, as I call it, spring and fall, we do cleanup work. So again, we're preparing you for winter, we're preparing you for summer.
I think that's the most Minnesotan thing I've ever heard, the in-betweens.
Yeah. So that is our program side. And then we've, in the last 3 years, built initiatives that are community-based for all ages to continue to build community post-pandemically and provide opportunities for people to be together, learn new things, have food resources, and generally have a good time together.
It feels like that's probably a good place to start since that's some of the more recent stuff.
Sure.
Could you tell me about some of those initiatives that you've done to build community?
Sure. I kind of consider the work we do sometimes like a virtual community center. We have in our community partnership 18 partner churches, but so many of them have all this beautiful but empty space in their big buildings. All these places provide space and place for us to do these community events. One of our first that we did was our Sunday suppers, and we're in our 3rd year on that. Once a month, one of our partner churches provides space, and we have a retired chef who plans a meal. We started out with 20-some people, and we had the Crosstown Community Band come and entertain. Now, 3 years later, we have well over 120 to 130 people coming once a month.
Whoa!
So very exciting. We always have some sort of entertainment or learning. Oftentimes we try and find community groups for music, since a lot of our attendees don't necessarily have that reach in the community. So we have the Crosstown Community Band. We have radio plays. Radio plays are a fun part. We do that a couple times a year, where people stand in front of microphones and actually talk and read their parts like a play, but they do it in an old-fashioned radio format. So as I've told people, podcast before podcast.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we've got our Lunch and Learn, which we do once a month, provides a place for people to come together, and it's a great format. It's 2 hours. We do mindful meditation to start. Then we have lunch together, followed by technology, health, and wellness. And then we learn something new. We may do an art project. We may have a group come in. For example, we've had community bands, meditation with sound. We had Anda Flamenco. They were all in costume. They talked about the costumes, did several different dances. And then at the end, they invited everyone to come up. There were 50 some people there, and I bet 20 plus came up and learned basic flamenco dance.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Different things like that just, again, provide people opportunity to creatively learn something new. Then we have a new thing I'm very excited about. In that Lunch and Learn, we had a time at the end of the day for storytelling. So oftentimes we do a theme like, what's one of your memories growing up as a child? Or maybe the first time you went to school or went to the state fair. One of our elders commented about the fact that she was 75 before she ever went down the giant slide.
Oh, that's amazing.
Isn't it though? And other people talking about how disappointed they were because their parents would always pack lunches and they just really wanted to have Pronto Pups. So, I mean, they're just great stories. My staff team we love it. It's like, I wonder what we're going to have this time for a story. And, there's just, I could share with you time and time again, the giggles and the laughter and sometimes too the heartfelt and the tears that come with people's stories. It's a safe space, and it has become so wildly popular. We have about 50 adults that come to that. It just has organically grown. So starting next week, we are actually doing what we call shared spaces, shared stories. So we're going to do a 6-week workshop that starts by helping people creatively think of their memories and then write them down. And then we'll teach them how to do stage presence. And at the end of the 6-week block, at one of our Sunday suppers, similar to the Moth Radio Hour, we'll actually do a senior story slam. Our history is but one generation of being lost unless we tell it, write it down, share it with others. And then we hope to record them and, again, start building some history blocks of people's lives, people's stories.
How did that idea come about?
My mom lived to be 97 and a half. My daughter was born after my mom was widowed. And so the three of us did a lot of palling around together. And oftentimes it was, sharing those stories. I mean, it sounds silly when I say it, but we would go out to the cemeteries and take care of the graves every spring. That was very important to my mom. But in that time, as we were at this gravestone or that gravestone, she would share stories of this person and things that had happened. And I realized how much of my family history and even the history of our community I have because of these times together. When you're in a family setting, sometimes people roll their eyes and say, "Oh my gosh, mom's telling this story again." And when you get in new community groups, those stories become fresh, those stories become new. Sometimes having a different group of people to share your stories with then evolves into another person has a memory related to something you said. And for this new one, where we're actually teaching the art of storytelling, we already have 16 signed up for a 6-week course, which in the life of a busy older adult, I'm just blessed that they have that much time to give us. When I started, we had 12 riders right after pandemic in our transportation assist program. We now have topped 75. We started serving, I'd say, 175 when I started. Our client base is well over 300. It's growing. People need these kind of services. So a big thing is transportation. And if we transport people to these other programs that we do, the initiatives, then again, it's a win-win.
Yeah. Tell me more about the transportation offerings.
So we provide rides to our clients. We do what's called a door-to-store. We have personal drivers that will then take them to grocery store, errand runs, doctor appointments, things like that. Most of our drivers are also young retireds. So, again, they're building relationships. The idea of being a vulnerable adult and getting in someone's car is pretty scary. The biggest thing is they're not going to be left at the store. So many of our clients have horror stories about they got dropped off and then the driver disappeared, or Metro Mobility didn't show up. And, you think about that, how frightening that is.
Mm. So it builds safety, independence, and relationships.
Right. One of my other stories is a transportation story that came from one of our drivers who was driving one of our clients, a 80-year-old African-American man who together they had stopped at McDonald's. And while they were sharing their Happy Meals together, he looked at our driver and said, son, now mind you, the son is a man who's 70 years old. But he said, son, I remember a day when I wouldn't even be allowed in your car, let alone sharing a meal with you. And to me, that's a really powerful story. And the relationship between these two gentlemen it's beautiful. They have the best time together. So again, it builds that community in many different ways.
Yeah.
And then our Meals on Wheels program, all of our drivers, we have over 75 drivers there that make sure people have daily hot or weekly frozen meals. And all those drivers are volunteers. So, and that's 5 days a week we do that. For many of our Meals on Wheels clients, they are completely homebound. And the idea that the person who delivers their meal might be the only person they physically talk to face in a day. These are the stories that truly do create community. And we've been around since 1970 and expanded and contracted and whatever, but the work we do now is so impactful to the life of our community.
Mary Beth, this is such a huge organizational feat. It seems like such a large set of services with such a large set of volunteers. How do you see your role as the executive director? Like, how do you ensure these things all happen?
The beauty of the work I do is I have an amazing team, which I have to shout out. My colleagues are phenomenal at what they do. By having that kind of team support, who also has a passion for this kind of nonprofit work, we can continue to look for grants, look for partnerships. And that's a lot of the work that I do. So depending on the day, I feel like Bartholomew Cubbins, I have 500 hats. It sometimes can be perhaps overwhelming to hear all these different components. But again, when you kind of step back and look at it, it really runs well because we have all these different components.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, you're really helping people stay in their neighborhood by so many of the things that you're offering.
Absolutely. And the idea that if you are living in your home and community of choice, your health and wellness is only going to be that much better. We've seen it study over study. People are forced to leave their homes. They get moved to a community far from their neighborhood. And the statistics show that they don't thrive in the same way. And I think sometimes our societal idea of caring for people, putting them in a big building with lots of activities, sometimes overshadows the fact that this isn't neighborhood or community. And if we can keep people, again, with support services, living in their homes, they don't just survive, they thrive. One of our clients, as we were wrapping up a conversation, said, Mary Beth, I don't know which is worse, dying of COVID or dying of loneliness. That's a lot of my heartbeat, is making sure we're doing what we're doing and hopefully alleviating some of that loneliness. It's both a blessing and sometimes a heartache. And it makes me a little verklempt just talking about it, because I think at the end of a day, we can say we did good work today.
Who has increased your quality of life?
Wow. My family and my background has been very much part and parcel of what I do. In my time here at Trust, it's my colleagues. They're amazing to work with, and it makes work joyful.
Fantastic. Cheers to your family and to your colleagues at Trust.
I'm excited. I want you to know that once we have this all put together, our hope and goal from our technology side is to teach our elders how to download podcast apps and then provide them with a link so their first podcast they listen to will be this one.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that so much. But before we go, let me do my toast to you.
Oh, thank you. And a toast to you too for the work you're doing. Thank you for uplifting us in the community. You asked me how people hear about Trust. My hope and goal is many will hear about it this way, and we're always looking for volunteers.
I imagine you are.
All right.
No, we're not done. Mary Beth, I'm going to do an actual toast to you.
Oh, all right.
Mary Beth, for recognizing and accepting your family of origin's impact in your life, for paying attention to passion and the influence to bring that into your heartbeat, for bringing that heartbeat in and providing that heartbeat to other people so that they can also benefit from the services that Trust provides, for trusting your colleagues and recognizing that they, like you said, they know what's best and you're there to support them, and for holding the stories of the people that you come into contact with, and holding the stories of your colleagues as well. You're keeping people's memory alive, even when they're still living. And for that, this toast is for you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now it's your turn. Honor someone who has made your life better by recommending them as a guest, or by recording a toast to them at thistoastisforyou.com. To keep us going, please tap the follow button, use the star button to rate us, and share this episode with someone who could use some good news. Then celebrate by toasting up some bread, because this toast is for you.
So I live in that Minnesota dilemma of, gosh, I wish it would snow. I'm really glad it hasn't. My siblings would say I was an oops baby, but my mom and dad would say I was an extra special gift. My colleague and I are like, well, we have a little more background than most of the people here, so I guess we become the IT specialists. Push buttons, unplug, restart. I always tell people at this stage of my life, I know a guy who knows a guy, or I know a girl who knows a girl. And that is, people are like, how do you have so many connections? And I'm like, well, I've lived a lot of life and I've met a lot of people along the way.